the judges challenged that. And for that reason, when Musharraf declared a state of emergency, removed the Chief Justice and many other judges in the High Court and the Supreme Court and put them under arrest, there was hardly a single complaint from any Western European or North American country. Whereas, if the same thing had been done in a country they don't like Venezuela, can you imagine the press would have been screaming murder? Look what's happening, look what the dictators are doing. Or if Putin had done it in Russia. Just imagine. But it happens in Pakistan. It's done by a general who they like. And they are happy it's happened because these judges were actually beginning to dispense justice. And that's not what judges are meant to be there for. Judges, in the minds of these people, are meant to defend the state. And if you remember Musharraf's speech announcing the emergency, he said these judges were out of control, and they were demoralizing the intelligence agencies. Demoralizing the intelligence agencies who've picked people up off the streets without any evidence at all and handed them over to the West, who end up in torture chambers in Egypt or Syria or Guantanamo or Bagram, which is a big torture center in Afghanistan. And that's fine. And then we are given lessons in democracy. Well, the two lessons in democracy Pakistan gave to the West was our judges, saying this is how you should behave. And the second lesson in democracy which Pakistan gave to the West was by the way in which the Pakistani media reacted to the legal struggles, the way in which these legal struggles were covered every single day on television. When was the last time a Western country covered any struggle on television apart from every single day on television? When was the last time a Western country covered any struggle on television apart from Amy Goodman on Democracy Now? Who covers it? The networks here? These people are invisible, all the people who struggle. In Pakistan, the media covered the struggle. And that we know, because Musharraf has admitted it, enraged him. Then when he was questioned by the independent media, they asked critical questions. Now, I would have thought that the leader of a country asked critical questions by television interviewers and journalists from his own country would have a sense of pride, saying, God, we are moving forward. Journalists are not what they were in the time of Ayyub and Zia, where they were crushed, beaten, flogged, imprisoned. Our journalists have moved forward. But no, Musharraf said, when I'm in the United States, no one talks to me like that. No, they don't, because you're one of them. When I'm in the United States, no one talks to me like that. No, they don't, because you're one of them. They don't question you like that. Because you're pro-them, you're regarded as a pro-Western leader, and they're backing you up. But they will not, they wouldn't talk to you like that if you were critical of them. All the questions would be critical. And so he said, that's what we need our media to do, to be more orderly, to be well behaved. After all, do they question the British Prime Minister or the American President like that? And that's a big problem. I wish they did question the American President and the British Prime Minister like that, because citizens would be better educated in this country. And so the target of the emergency were two institutions, new institutions. An independent judiciary and an independent media. That was the only aim of the emergency, and that emergency was backed by the European Union and by the United States. So, the response to this has to be that Pakistan and its new leaders, we hope, we can at least hope, it may not happen, have to behave like an independent. That was the only aim of the emergency, and that emergency was backed by the European Union and by the United States. So, the response to this has to be that Pakistan and its new leaders, we hope, we can at least hope, it may not happen, have to behave like an independent country. You know, what is the point of getting rid of the British from India and Pakistan if you end up as someone else's colony? And that is in fact what the situation has been. Every time the people have realized this, they have protested and they've been beaten back. But that is essentially what the situation is in our country. And if these politicians now who've been elected capitulate, make concessions, don't do what they've promised to do, there will be real anger within their own parties. I mean, the one critically important demand is to restore the Chief Justice and the judges. If that happens, it will be a big victory. Even if nothing else happens and that happens, it will be a big, big victory, which is why they are moving heaven and earth to try and stop that happening. Why is it that the US ambassador in Pakistan, Ann Patterson, calls Asif Zardari to the embassy and says, your wife made a certain deal with us and you have to fulfill the terms of that deal and you have to back Musharraf? That's what she said. It's public knowledge. What I'm telling you isn't a secret. And you should be working with Musharraf and his people and not with Nawaz Sharif and his people. Well, that is not why Zardari was voted into power, or the People's Party. So we will see what happens and how these politicians behave under pressure. But I have another word of advice. People's Party. So we will see what happens and how these politicians behave under pressure. But I have another word of advice, you know, which is the following, that the United States don't want the Chief Justice restored. Okay, that's obvious. Pakistanis, of all political opinions, mostly, I would say about 85% of the population, want the Chief Justice restored. At the same time, the United States don't want Musharraf removed as President of Pakistan, when there is a very big question as to whether he was elected legally or not. In any case, even let us assume for a moment that he was elected legally. Let's assume it. Given that the people have delivered a crushing verdict on your last 10 years as President of Pakistan and have voted all your people or most of your people out, and if there hadn't been heavy rigging in Karachi by the MQM, but heavy rigging, as we all know, and people don't like talking about it, MQM gangsters went into various polling booths with arms to ensure that their people were elected, and told many of the independent observers, you go and report this and we'll see you. We know who you people are.
Absolutely right.
So there was heavy rigging in Karachi and other rigging. If there hadn't been that, the scale of the defeat of the pro-Musharraf factions would have been much, much larger.
Right.